Back again with another Rock and Rob's album review. How are you, Rob?
I'm good. I'm very good. Yeah, you?
Yeah, good to see you, mate. Excellent. Yeah, all good. Update on Garen Quallen. He scored a goal international week.
Yes, he did. His first goal. Socceroos. So it's great news for Hearts. I read into something last week from Jambo's forum, and I thought, because the Celtic manager spoke to him, I thought, here we go again. He's just going to take him off us. You know, that's what happens a lot of the time with the Old Firm, and then they complain of no competition because they buy your up and coming stars, such likes. But yeah, it's because he's Australian, so he did praise him. He just said, look, keep up your good work. Hope you're settling in. Just doing what you're doing. But I sort of got a knee-jerk reaction. I thought, great. But there's 9 games to go, so it's a massive boost for Hearts. Robbie Nielsen and Kaul himself. What a great boost. So hopefully I'll get a bit more time the next Hearts game. So that's good. Gateshead won yesterday, 3-2. So that was brilliant. That was chuffed with that.
Important win that for Gateshead, wasn't it?
Massive. I think was it Altrincham, yeah? We're 4 points ahead before the game, I think. So that's cut down to the one, obviously. So it's going in the right direction. So again, it's just survival. Hearts, with their 9 games to go, it's pretty tight for third space, but hopefully we can pick up a good run as well. So that was good, yeah. So that was talking about football. You obviously went to the Newcastle Cup final.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to an England Cup final?
No.
Right. So I've got this for you. I do have 2. I'm going to pop in the post for you. Program.
Ah, wow.
Team sheet.
Fantastic, mate.
And a little something that I want you to have, a gift from me to you, and it's not a reprint.
Wow, amazing, mate.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, mate. That's really nice of you.
Yeah, I just want them to go to a good home, that's it. And, it's who better to give them to.
Thank you very much, mate. I look forward to seeing them, mate. That's excellent.
Yeah. So they'll be in the post this week to you. So it's just a little gift.
Ah, top man. Great stuff.
Okay.
So what are we looking at today, then, mate?
Today, when you planted a seed last week with Skids, Big Country, I put some of my vinyls behind me. As you can see, I've got quite a collection. The one today is going to be The Crossing. This is a reissue one, 180 gram. It's the usual. I've just put on an extra disc and, extra tracks on it. And
yeah.
The extra is my favourite song on the album, which wasn't on the original version of it. After listening to it again, it was just me you mentioning them, Skids, Big Country, and I thought, I've not listened to them for quite a while now. Firstly, the album cover, it was always a tricky one. I couldn't afford the vinyl at the time. It was cassette. And back then, it came in 3 colours, I think. It was green, blue, and the red. One of them was textured. Naturally, I have them all now. And I have a Japanese copy here as well. So yeah, I was listening to it. And I always remember listening to it on cassette thinking it sounds awful funny. It didn't sound that great. And I think this is the beauty of what we're doing here with these music reviews is you're going to get the rough and the smooth, I was listening to it again and I thought, that still sounds tinny. It just doesn't sound right. And I've got a good setup, I've got a good hi-fi setup. And it's Steve Lillywhite that produced it. And again, this album was 1983. So was U2's War, believe it or not. And if you listen to the production on War to The Crossing, it's just, I just don't like the mix. It's simple as that. I don't like the mix. And the reason I don't like the mix, I think the drumming is way too loud. And that's coming from a drummer. It's way too loud. It just dominates everything. Saying that, the songs, there's a lot of good songs in it. I mean, there's a song called Poro Man. which is one of my favourite songs on it. It's just really atmospheric. It's about an African witch doctor. So, I mean, you know, the late Stuart Adamson was obviously an avid reader. He did read a lot of books and, you know, etc., etc. Then you've got The Storm, which is my favourite song now. I watched it this morning on the tube again, called the Newcastle. Watch that. Watch The Storm on the tube. It's outstanding. It's just outstanding. I mean, you can still hear parts of the skids, but when Stuart left the skids, I think he was getting bored with the same old, not being able to express himself. When Tilbrook done that squeeze as well, he was getting bored, and his idol was Jimi Hendrix. He said, I want to do more, I want to be more creative. He'd done his own thing, then went back to Squeeze, so he got out of the system. Again, Big Country, yeah, 1,000 Stars. I'm actually going to speak to Paul, our bass player, and ask if he fancy covering it, and he asked Craig if the singer was listening to it and thought it would be a good one to have. We do have a Skids song in the set as well. It's really, really tight, really good. Another one, Angle Park. There's a song called Angle Park. Now, that's the song I was telling you about. It's on the bonus disc. It's my favourite song of the album. It's about Stuart's flat. Now, picture here. He used to have a flat in Dunfermline of a Chinese takeaway. The takeaway's still there. I don't have that picture. Right, that's great. So anyway, it's Angle Park, and it's about his flat and such likes and how he was living at the time, and you know about the area, the monuments in Dunfermline. You've got Pittenwood Park, 2-minute walk from over there. So you've got that as well. I mean, again, with the album cover, I think it only looks good on the vinyl. If you look at it in CD and cassette, it doesn't have much of an impact. But see, when you hold it up in vinyl, it's like, okay, I get it. It looks very, you know, it does. And again, the colours, but to me, it's the yellow and red. That's my favourite one. Again, the sleeves, there's textured ones, promo ones, and I don't know why that is. I mean, I used to think you have to have 3 versions of a LP for a release. Same when you had like cassette singles, you'd have a cassette single, you know, CD and tape, so you'd have 3 variations of it. But I don't know if that's, maybe somebody can answer that for me. Why was there 3? But I couldn't find it. Another one is, I mean, everybody talks about, you know, Scottish band. I mean, Stuart was from Manchester. I get that as well. I mean, I was born in Gateshead. My family is North Shields in Kent. Now, to me, it doesn't make me Scottish. I'm British. So I just sometimes wonder that. And the same with Proclaimers. People say, oh, they're from Leith. Well, they're not. They're from Fife as well. It's that thing because you relate to the 3 big countries, that sound of the Igbo, and it gives you that feel, that warmth, that the sound that big country have. I'm not going to use the bagpipes, Rob, but I just did. You know, everybody says, well, that's saying that it sounds very Celtic. The sound, to me, they don't. I mean, to me, they still got that post-punk about in the first album. And I was looking at the back catalogue as well, and I'm wondering, and this is, I don't know if they're a one-album wonder, to be honest. But all their albums, I mean, I know people are going to say you can't say that, but well, it's not the strongest album. I prefer the Seer album. Kate Bush was on that. I mean, I remember buying that in the accordion pipe and I passed my O-level still. That was Bruce Emerson's record shop called Something Manager, I think. Yeah, it used to be called Bruce's. And buying at the time, but there's not like a classic album you could possibly say about any band, but there's not a standout album. And again, this is the reissue one I was listening to this morning. I'm saying the sound's still the same. I don't see any difference. They've just rebadged it, repackaged it, put a disc on before the bonus tracks on it. So just a couple of pictures here I want to share with you as well. But there's this iconic, when Stuart had the pub called Tappy Theories. It was in Dunfermline. A lot of people have, you know, been behind the bar and done that pose, shall we say. So did I. So there's that one there, and that's Stuart in his pub as well. Now the pub's still there, still called Tappy Theories. I think the Adamson estate still own it. Yeah, there's my wife Sharon there. Now that was, you know, like Stuart's guitar. That's just 2 minutes round the corner is in the library. There's a wee section with memorabilia. Stuart's guitar, I thought it was a really, really nice touch there. Quite emotional seeing that. It really was. I mean, I remember Stuart had the flat above that got caught on fire. I mean, you know, not a nice situation to be in anybody's life. But there's, again, that's myself with it, and there's a memorial bench there. That's there was an unveiling of that you can see on YouTube. It's Skids in Big Country. It's in Pittencrieff Park. There's, there's engravings in it for Skid songs, the Skid bands, Big Country. It's just really nice. And you go there, people still leave flowers, etc. Again, that was another one with the Skids convention. There, that was again in the library. It's not there anymore. And
great pictures.
Yeah, I mean, that was Mike Peters from the Alarm standing outside Happy Furies and me at the other side. I mean, it's so sad that what happened to Stuart. Like very sad. It's devastating. And you look now, it's like what he had. He had a band called Raphaels. I've never heard them, but some things I like to keep my memories to myself. My thoughts to myself, and songs I like, that sort of thing. But it's a great song as well called Inwards. And to me, the things I have to deal with daily, there's a great line in it, and I've always picked this line. It's I pull everything inwards, but everything's loose. And see, to me, just that line, a lot of people listen to lyrics and they say, that's great, that's great, but that is a personal, and that I remember listening to that in the year that came out, 1983, listening to that, because to me, it's like, personally, it's like, try my best, try everything you can, but it's just getting unscrambled all the time. So, again, that's what you make for music. I mean, like Toro Man, and that's about this woman, I think it's Jacobean period, who met this guy, had his baby, and he just left. So songs like that, other songs, like, I mean, that was Chance, sorry. I mean, there's other songs like having people's backs for life, looking after each other, that sort of thing. And again, I must admit, I mean, it is a soundtrack to Scotland. I mean, when we used to drive over the Fife, and when you go the valleys and, the hillside, you put Big Country on, you get goosebumps, you do. You try not to, but you do. Yeah, again, I mean, what about this for a picture of this, Scotland?
I always used to like picture discs, Rob, that, just something a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a collectible, that as well. It's really nice.
But to cut off England, it's
Talking about collectibles, I mean, you sent us this before we, last week, and I mean, that's your collection, and a lot of them are signed, Rob, as well, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, I buy stuff. I was going to give some to the barman in Happy Furies, because I mean, Stuart was a big Dunfermline athletic supporter, massive. I mean, they had a concert there at the football ground there as well, but they wouldn't allow anything there. I don't know why. There's no football memorabilia. There's no something to do with the Abington estate. I don't know. But Stuart's daughter, Kirsten, she's still singing and playing live. She reads out things about my dad and stuff like that. And it's just heartbreaking. And again, nostalgia. There's, I find this again. This video still got the higher sticker on it. This was 1983, and there was actually a guy that I recognised in it. He was a lot older than me at high school, but he was in it. That the bells at midnight came on. It's a Hogmanay bash, and the pipers came on stage. It was a Glasgow Barrowland Ballroom. All the pipers came on, and at the time, Steve Lillywhite, the producer, proposed to Kirsty McCall as well on the stage, and not a lot of people know that. So yeah, the late Kirsty McCall as well. But when I looked at this sticker, I've noticed on one of your shows, Steve, that somebody's got a lot of Star Wars memorabilia in one of his rooms.
Right. Yeah, it's Vince.
Right, see this? It's in a place called Dalkeith. That's where like Fish Marillion that I used to live as well. But
Yeah.
Now there was a video shop. It was called Target Video. Then it changed to Ritz. Not sure.
Right.
And when I opened, it was David Prowse opened the shop when I got this from. He was standing outside the video shop waving to people, and everybody's saying, there's a Green Cross Code man. And I'm walking past, it's the Dark Lord, you know.
Yeah.
But again, memories, that's what it's all about. But yeah, Inwards is definitely my favourite song. I feel everything inwards, but everything's out of 10, I would give it 6.5.
6.5, yeah. Well, of course, they're still touring. I was lucky enough to promote Big Country on quite a few occasions down at the down at the O2 Academy, which is no longer there now. But yeah, they're still touring, still pulling in big crowds north and south of the border, and still a massive interest in Big Country. Just got to ask you about your band before we finish, Rob. How's things going? Have you been rehearsing this week?
Yeah, we've got it's approximately 2.5 hours set now. We've nailed a few other songs, but again, if people like to just look us up, we're putting snippets and demos and stuff we've done with Gary Newman, or there's bits and bobs there. But we're ideally would like to play Montrose Town Hall. Big Country played there recently, so yeah, I would like to do that. But I'm going to say in the next month and a half we'll be gig ready.
Get in. Looking forward to that, mate.
Yeah, can't wait. So. And again, the viewings are going up on here as well, slightly. So again, if people just share, like, and subscribe as usual. And if anybody wants me to review an album or challenge me to an album, say, right, go and do this one. It's funny because some of my band members, my friends, said, Rob, I noticed your face dropped when Steve spoke about Paul Weller. I went, I said, that was it. There was just a thing at high school where, you had to choose, you're a mod, the metal or whatever. And there was this guy, hardcore mod, I don't know if it's the right word, hardcore, but with the whole dress. And he was massively into the jam, Paul Weller, But he liked Susie and the Banshees. So I hold a grudge from then because of the jam, because it's like, you shouldn't like that. That was your mods, you should not like. It was Dear Prudence at the time, the Beatles song that Susie and the Banshees was singing. So since then, 1981, 82, I've had this grudge against the jam and Paul Weller. So,
next week you're going to do a jam album.
You want me to? Will?
Do it. Pick your favorite jam album, mate. That's your challenge for next week.
Right. Okay. What I'll do is I'll put the album covers in a row, and whatever cover I'm drawn to, I'll review.
All right, great stuff. Rob, as always, absolute pleasure to spend a bit of time with you, mate. Thanks very much for taking the time to research Big Country and play it again. Look forward to seeing you next week, mate. Take care.
Okay, cheers, Steve. Bye.
Big thanks to all our sponsors. Thanks to Skips and Bins, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3, email inquiries at skipsandbins.com, website skipsandbins.com, easy contract free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria, and you can find them at mrvickys.co.uk. Email info@mrvickys.co.uk and place an order by phoning 01768 210 102. Thanks to Fruity Vita Getaways. Book your holidays or short breaks in the UK or around the world with them. Let them find your happy place. ABTA and ATOL registered. You can contact them by emailing fruityvitagetaways@gmail.com. Call or text 0792 842 7895 and join their Facebook group at Fruity Vita Getaways. Thanks to Media Arts for all the technical help and videos that they do. And thanks to qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend, Newcastle. If you want to join the channel, click join and you can see the various rates that you can pay to help support us. If you want to join by subscribing, hit the subscribe button, that is free. Hit the thumb up under the video to help the algorithm and click share to other social media platforms. If you do subscribe, we do give you a free car sticker. Just email John at nufcmatters.com and he will post you one out. If you want to join the cult, which is a one-off payment of £25, where you get a scarf, a pen, a cup, and entry into the monthly draw, then go to nufcmatters.com and look for the cult membership or put your phone over this smart code and it will take you straight there. We are available as well as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, and the rest. And we do support the food bank on this channel. So if you want to make a virtual donation from anywhere in the world, go to nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk and put your money into the match day bucket. We've got some events coming up. First off in April, April the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 11th. Peter Beardsley Soccer School is back for ages 6 to 16 years. Go to peterbeardsley.soccerschool.com for more information. An evening with John Anderson at the Time House Surf Cafe, Tuesday the 18th of April. Book your tickets direct from the venue. An evening with Frank Clark and John Gibson 2 nights later, Thursday the 20th of April at the Irish Centre. Tickets from nufcmatters.com. An evening with Nobby Solano at Laurel's in Whitley Bay is May the 11th. So contact the venue direct if you want to go to that event. And we've got our NUFC Matters end of season party, which is the 27th of May at 7 o'clock. Tickets are a tenner from nufcmatters.com. An evening with Rob Lee at Louis Liquor Store, 1st of June, and tickets direct from the venue. And an evening with Rob Lee, Lee Clark, and John Beresford, Friday the 2nd of June at the Grand Hotel Gosforth, which is in aid of the Healing Tour charity. And you can get your tickets direct from them at the healingtour.org.uk website. Just click events. A little bit later in the year, an evening with Gavin Peacock, July the 10th. Tickets from nufcmatters.com for that one. And if you like your boxing, a night of champions featuring Frank Bruno, Ricky Hatton, Nigel Benn, and Joe Calzaghe. Tickets for that one from goldstarpromotions.com.